Hello everybody, welcome to the shop. Y'all come on in, make yourself at home. So today we're going to do a shop update. Just want to talk about some of the things that are coming, some of the things that we've done, and let you guys know what to expect. At the end I've got some tips that I want to talk about sharpening. So we want to talk a little bit about the channel, and I can't thank you guys enough for watching, for liking and subscribing. And most of all, the comments and the questions. I have had a tremendous amount of questions, especially about these panels back here. And you know, they're fairly simple little panels. I started using something similar to this in the photography studio, my gosh, 30 years ago probably, with different fabrics on it to diffuse or reflect the light. And after I got into wood turning, I realized throwing wood chips all over a two-car garage when you've got as much equipment and tools in here as I do is not necessarily a good idea. It's kind of nice to be able to restrict how far they can go. So I built these panels. And with all the questions that I've had around them, I'm going to go ahead and do a video. Now, I'm going to have to move outside to do that to get enough room to really show you guys exactly how they work and how they fit together, but you can really design them to be exactly what you want them to be. And so we'll talk about that in an upcoming video. I don't have that one scheduled yet. It's going to depend a lot on the weather as to when I do that. Let's talk about what we have uploaded since the last shop update. So I did a video on a baby rattle, 3 captured rings, and as some of you know if you watched that, I've got a new great-grandbaby coming, which should be here just any minute now. And so it was super exciting to be able to do that video and think that maybe someday he'll be able to watch it and see his great pawpaw make his own baby rattle. So looking forward to many more projects for him to see, but that one was a highlight for me. Once we did the baby rattle, then I did some Easter eggs. And again, how can you turn Easter eggs or wooden eggs and not have fun doing that? It was just a good time. And from the comments and the amount of views, it looks like that I wasn't the only one that enjoyed that video. So that's really why I do this and do the videos, is number one, to entertain you, to educate you, and to motivate you to get back out in your shop and do some turning yourself. So it looks like that one accomplished those tasks. The last video that I did and uploaded was on a small cherry bowl. And for you guys that have been watching for a while, you've heard me say more than a few times that the bowls really are my passion. I kind of got stuck into doing this, what you can make from a simple limb, and I don't regret it at all because I think it was timely, and there's just so many things that you can make from a limb that's free wood. It doesn't cost you anything. And it's absolutely a lot of fun, and it's a lot of practice, skill building, and what can I say? Anytime I'm out here on the lathe turning, I'm having a good time. If it's not costing me anything out of my family budget, then that makes it even that much better. So the difference with the cherry bowl that I did is I turned the entire outside, including the bottom, finished it all, and then turned it around and hollowed out the inside, sanded and finished that. So when I took the bowl out of the chuck, it was a finished turn bowl I could take in. So if you hadn't seen that video, you might want to check it out. So what is coming up at the end? We are going to talk about sharpening. I've had so many questions and even statements about, wow, your tools are so much sharper than mine. Well, the reality is, a sharp tool is a sharp tool, whether it belongs to me or you or somebody else. If it's sharp, it's sharp. If it's not sharp, well, it's not. And we'll talk about that at the end of the video and hopefully give you guys some tips and some information to make you really think about when and how to sharpen. Well, maybe not necessarily how, but definitely when to sharpen your tools. So what should you be expecting in the upcoming week? Well, I've got a few projects that I want to do. Number one, Easter's coming up. A lot of folks are making eggs. I even did a video myself of making eggs. So we're going to do an egg cup. It kind of serves as dual purpose. So if you're a soft-boiled egg person, you've got something to eat your breakfast out of. If you're not a soft-boiled egg person, you've got something to display the eggs you've turned in around the home. And maybe you can use them as a dual purpose. I don't know, who am I to say? But I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a really short, quick video because it just doesn't take much time to turn an egg cup. Okay? So one other thing we're going to talk about is I've had a lot of questions about this little handle that I use to hold drill bits with. And so we're going to make one. I thought it would be a great opportunity for those of you that can't find one, that we go in and make one so you have one for yourself. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to finish turn a bowl. I've got a bowl out of box elder that it looks like from the date on it, I originally green turned it around September of 2017. So at some point I pulled it out of the storage building and into the house, and it has been setting in the house for probably at least a year. Well, I don't have to tell you, Mama likes this one and she wants it finished turned, so that's what we're going to do, is we're going to finish turn that bowl, and I'm going to video it. The good Lord willing, we'll see that video up this week as well. Folks, let's talk about sharpening. I get a lot of comments on how sharp my tools are, and my tools are sharper than your tools. And let me just say, a sharp tool is a sharp tool. How often do you sharpen your tools? Well, you see a lot of these ads for tools that they put out there, 6X bowls, and kind of making you think you can turn 6 bowls without sharpening because these stay sharpened 6 times longer. Well, my question to that is 6 times longer than what? There's a lot of different steels out there, and some will hold an edge for a little bit and some will hold an edge for a lot longer. What are they comparing that to? Some will say high-speed steel, but even when you get into high-speed steel, there is a tremendous difference from the lowest grade of high-speed steel to the highest grade of high-speed steel. And even when you get into your carbides, they still don't stay sharp forever. So let's talk about just how much wood a tool cuts and how fast. You take a little 6-inch bowl. Well, folks, that's not a very big bowl. It's 6 inches across the top. When you measure around that bowl, you're measuring about 18 inches. 1.5 feet. So if you're turning that bowl at 1,000 RPMs, and if you look at the suggested turning speeds, 1,000 RPM for a 6-inch bowl is on the low end. I believe that formula goes something like diameter times the RPM should equal somewhere between 6,000 and 9,000. Well, if you got a 6-inch bowl at 1,000 RPMs, that's 6,000. That's the low end of that 6,000 to 9,000 scale. But even at 1,000 RPMs, this thing is turning 1.5 feet of material past that gouge with every revolution, and it's doing 1,000 of them per minute, which means that's about 1,500 foot per minute that is being cut on the end of this tool. Now you stop and think, if you had a hand plane and you were planing the side of 1x6s, I believe that's 94 1x6s, 8 foot long, that you would have to plane down the side of to equal 1 minute of what your gouge cuts on a 6-inch bowl. That's a lot of material. Now there's no way anybody would try to hand plane 94 1-bys both sides with a hand plane and never sharpen it. Yet we think we can turn a whole bowl and never sharpen the gouge. Even with that little cherry bowl that I turned on the last video, I didn't sharpen a gouge turning that, but if my recollection's right, I used 3 different tools. I actually started out with a 5/8 bowl gouge, did the roughing, came in with a 1/2 inch bowl gouge, finished the exterior, turned it around, hollowed it out with that bowl gouge, and then switched to another 1/2 inch bowl gouge with the same grind for the final couple of cuts. So you stop and think, I basically sharpened 3 times for that little 4.5 inch bowl. And do we wonder why folks would say my tools look sharp? It's because they are. My suggestion is sharpen often. It doesn't take but just a little bit to put a new edge on that. With that said, I thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking and commenting. Stay safe, stay healthy, and happy turning.